So we're almost there. Final question.
Yeah.
Looking forward, where do you think this all goes?
Mhm.
I mean, do we think that consolidation is going to keep accelerating? Is there a plateau coming? Or do you think something could change the dynamic of the state of play that we're seeing at the moment?
Um, I guess that depending on how you look at the market, with 45,000 or 60,000 targets in the UK alone to go for, and all this capital sitting there waiting to be deployed in the sector,
Mm.
it kind of has to keep going.
Yeah.
I suppose that things that could derail it, some kind of shock that impacts the whole multiple story. So if you've been, if you've been, if you're working on the basis that your platform's worth 15 times and you've been buying stuff recently, mid-size firms for 11 or 12 times, if there's a big re-rating in the market and your platform's then worth 10 times that, that's going to kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
derail stuff.
Yeah.
Um, on the other hand, if you've got if you do have all this US money getting increasingly interested in the sector in the UK, then you can see the trajectory suddenly accelerating again. You could,
Yeah.
but I do think it's all very well saying, oh, there's 60,000 firms and there are 45,000 firms. How many of those? I think when we last looked at it and we looked for firms um, with more than 10 employees, you're then into kind of, I think, single digit thousands. So still a lot.
Yeah.
It is still a
Yeah.
lot. But, if you look across the whole market, so many of those firms will be kind of so, 1, 2 man bands. Are those sellable? Are those really sellable assets?
Yeah.
So I think you can. I don't think you can say, okay, well, there are 45,000 businesses out there to buy.
Mm.
I think, you know, the vast majority of those businesses are not really um, targets.
No.
They're not really targets.
No.
It's a sole practitioner or maybe a couple of people servicing some private clients, maybe some small corporates.
Yeah.
But that's not really the stuff that, small lifestyle businesses.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not really the stuff
Yeah.
that's being
Yeah.
being acquired.
Yeah.
But then, I guess, we looked. If you look at if you're trying to draw parallels with other sectors that have had a lot of PE money that predated the whole accountancy boom, you can look at, other professional services sectors. Insurance brokers is a good
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Wealth managers is a good example.
Yeah.
Um, they started before accountants, and you know, they are, I don't know if people watching may have seen Catherine's webinar on what's happening to deal volumes in those sectors, and they have started tailing off.
Yeah.
And what was interesting, actually, Catherine looked at what's happened to insurance broking and wealth management. They're starting to tail off. Accountancy is still growing.
Mm-hmm.
What's really showing a rapid acceleration now is the legal sector.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people are calling the legal sector as kind of the next accountancy sector.
Mm.
And I think maybe what we think of is, well, hang on a minute, all the things that make, or the core attributes that make the accountancy sector so attractive for PE, do they really apply to the legal sector? Do they have underlying repeatable income? And I think maybe we think about corporate law, which doesn't.
Mm.
It's cyclical, just like
Yeah. Yeah.
corporate finance.
Yeah.
Um, but actually, a lot of other um, um, verticals within legal, employment, and that kind of, you can find law firms that are doing that do have um, these kind of, more repeatable income
Mm.
attributes,
Mm.
and those are the ones that we're seeing being targeted by the PE firms. And of course, the PE money comes first, and then you see the M&A accelerate because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
platform is capitalized, and then you see all the M&A,
Yeah. That's almost
all
a
the M&A
signal, isn't it? Yeah.
exactly. That's the
Yeah.
signal that it's going to suddenly explode.
Yeah.
And some of these, some of the PE firms that have been really successful in the accountancy sector and have now exited the accountancy sector are now saying, okay, let's get in early with legal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do that now.
Yeah.
So, um,
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's any lawyers watching this, which hopefully there are, we definitely have a number of clients, Mark to Market, that are lawyers, and thinking about my contacts in the sector. I know that a regular thought that goes on is around how can they get more
yeah,
recurring revenue.
yeah,
Is there a retainer model some of the corporate lawyers can use? And so potentially we've got some quite useful insight
yeah,
if you're trying to shape the strategy of your practice.
yeah,
So yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, going back to your point about um, the number of accountancy firms out there,
Mm,
and how you may need some kind of tool to decipher whether these firms are of a certain size or not.
mm.
And I think we both know of a certain platform that can probably help you.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So thanks very much for that, Doug. It's been
Thanks,
really
Matt.
interesting. Thank you
Thank you.
all for joining us. And if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with someone at Mark to Market, and we'll look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.